Before we start, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Only 2% are subscribed at 1,000 subscribers. I'll be posting a special video. The bedroom handle turns under my palm and gives a mark 24, and I push in hard. Sheets thrash, a knee hits the headboard, someone curses. My body moves before thought because I know that voice. Maya, my chest tightens like a trap. She yanks the blanket up and stares back. Another shape scrambles off the mattress, half-dressed. Liam, I say, and the floor tilts. He freezes, one shoe in his hand. Maya grips the blanket and watches me. My mouth finds words before sense catches up. Out now, both of you, before this gets worse. Liam reaches for his other shoe and misses. He keeps his eyes low and breathes through his nose. Maya slides off the bed and plants her feet. I asked him here, she says, steady but pale. I step sideways and block the doorway. My skin buzzes like a warning light gone rogue. I was gone 1 hour, I say, slow. How long has this been happening? Tell me straight. Liam lifts his hands and moves one step closer. Let me explain, he starts, voice rough from panic. Maya's fingers twitch on the blanket edge. I nod once, but I do not move. Kitchen, I say, because walls listen in bedrooms. We file out, nobody brushing anyone, space wide. The hallway seems short and mean like a funnel. I count breaths 1, 2, 3 and wait for impact. In the kitchen, I stand by the sink and hold. Liam leans on the island and keeps distance. Maya drags a chair back an inch and stops. I want the truth first, not the apology. How long? I ask, eyes on Liam. His jaw ticks and he looks at Maya. 2 weeks, he says, and the room tightens. Slow, Maya adds, and I feel heat rise. 2 weeks behind my back while we hung out. My voice cracks and lands like a broken plate. Liam flinches at the sound, then straightens. No lies, he says, no games, just us. Why now? I ask, knuckles white on stainless steel. You knew I was out tonight, I push. Maya steps forward and shakes her head once. I texted him to come, my call, not his. That lands heavy and sharp like a thrown key. I study her face and see zero flinch. She looks angry, not scared, which changes things. I still hear alarms, but softer now. Liam pulls his phone from his pocket and unlocks it. He turns the screen and scrolls through threads. No pet names, no secret codes, just clean plans. My throat works while the proof stacks quietly. We were going to tell you Sunday, Maya says. I picture Sunday like a cliff I almost missed. You promised me no secrets, I answer flat. That promise feels broken, and I'm the last to know. Silence spreads, loud as a siren that never fades. Liam's eyes meet mine and hold there. I care about her, he says, breath held. I won't hide, but I also won't push. My hands drop from the sink and hang useless. The word care crawls across old history like acid. I want to call it a line and laugh. Instead, I taste metal and choose the next move. House rules, I say, because control is oxygen. No sleepovers here, no surprises, no triangulating me. You come through the front door like adults. You both tell me before anything big changes. Maya nods once quick like she expected worse. Liam mirrors it slower like he rehearsed restraint. They stand apart and refuse comfort, which I note. Even that restraint feels like a test I'm grading. A beat passes and the room cools by degrees. My shoulders drop, not in surrender, in stance. I still think this feels wrong right now, I say. Prove me wrong because I can't unsee tonight. Maya swallows and reaches for the chair back. Her knuckles go white, then release with effort. I want this, she says, eyes locked on mine. I also want you, so don't make me choose. That line hits center and sits there heavy. Liam shifts weight like he wants to speak again. He doesn't, which matters more than any speech. I mark it because restraint today predicts impact tomorrow. I open the door and hold it wide and neutral. Liam, go home, text me at 10 tomorrow. He nods, grabs his shoe and moves out. The night sucks him into the stairwell's echo. I shut the door and face Maya across space. We breathe like fighters who called a pause. Not a verdict, I say, just a warning shot. Her chin lifts and the round still spins. My phone vibrates on the table and won't stop. 3 messages from him stack up like warnings. Maya stands in the doorway and watches my face. Answer or don't, she says, knuckles tight on the frame. I open his first text and read it twice. He wants to meet before work and talk plainly. I type a yes and choose a neutral spot. Maya exhales hard and points at the clock. Be back for lunch, she says without blinking. No drama with him in public, her shoulders square. Keep it clean or I walk away from both. The threat hangs there and bites through my pride. The park is already moving when I arrive. He is pacing by the bench and counting steps. I keep distance and nod once toward the path. He fell. LS in beside me and matches my stride. No speeches, I start, hands locked behind my back. Answer what I ask and leave out fluff. His jaw flexes and then he nods once. He is wired tight and trying to hold steady. When did you first think about this? After that volunteer event, he answers too quickly. He catches himself and looks away toward traffic. I file the slip and circle to the next strike. Did you plan last night or get pulled? I hesitated and then followed her lead. Why not stop when you heard my key? His mouth tightens and his ear twitches once. I froze and made the worst decision possible. I thought coming clean would fix it later. That confidence is exactly why I'm furious. He rubs his temple and breathes through his teeth. You trust me with everything except her, I push. You pick the one line that burns deepest. He reaches into his pocket and lifts his phone. Here, he says and brings up a calendar. He scrolls and points at small notes with times. Coffee on campus, game night with friends, practice. He taps a block labeled clear boundary meeting. My eyebrows lift despite myself and I keep walking. That was for Sunday, he offers after a beat. Her idea first, mine right after together. I stare at the word boundary and taste iron. One clean plan doesn't erase the mess made. You know what comes next if this collapses? I lose 2 people, he answers without looking up. You think I haven't counted that cost? He finally meets my eyes and doesn't blink. A kid punts a ball and it skids near us. He stops it with his foot and rolls it back. The moment forces a breath I did not want. Then we keep moving and return to the point. Power, I say and let the word punch hard. You know more about her than any stranger. You could steer without trying and still steer. His shoulders drop an inch and I see the hit. I set a rule for myself last week. No advice unless she asks, no nudging. I started doing that the second we kissed. My chest sparks and I hate that it helps. Fine, I say, voice low so it doesn't carry. New terms for me right now, non-negotiable. You update me before any next step. You keep distance if she second guesses anything. He nods and accepts the weight without a counter. Fair, he says and clasps his hands behind him. How about you stop calling me a predator? The word lands hard and heat climbs my neck. I used it once last night when I snapped. I won't use it again if you earn that. His eyes flick and then he breathes out slow. We pass a jogger and both edges side. I change angle and aim for the vulnerable spot. Did you ever talk about me while with her? Only that I wanted your blessing, he answers quickly. I hold his stare until the silence drags longer. Would you tell me if you doubted this? Yes, he says, and the answer comes firm. I'd end it early rather than hollow it out. He doesn't blink and my ribs unlock a notch. Text me at 10 and confirm today's limits. Write them so I can forward to her. He nods and pockets his phone without delay. 10 exactly, he repeats and steps back. I watch him leave and refuse the easy relief. He is careful today, and that can be strategy. It could also be growth I don't want to see. Either way, I keep my guard up and moving. At home, Maya is waiting at the table. She studies my face and waves off my greeting. Tell me if he tried to spin you. Her voice is even and her hands are still. He brought proof, not charm, I answer carefully. He owned the hit and took my conditions. I added more and he accepted all of them. Her eyes flick toward the clock and then back. I'm not asking permission, she says, steady and brave. I'm asking for your trust while I test this. You can watch without treating me like inventory. I flinch at the last word and feel the sting. Inventory is done, I say and mean it. I watch for safety and for respect only. You tell me if anything feels off immediately. She nods once and the line tightens again. Her phone pings and she reads without smiling. He texted the terms already, she says quietly. She turns the screen and I scan the list. No hidden angles yet, and that scares me more. Dinner tonight with both of us, she adds. Public place in short timeline and no drinks. You can leave first if the air gets weird. She studies me like a referee waiting on a call. Book it, I answer after a long breath. I need to see how you two act together. Not a trap, just observation under pressure. She nods and starts typing fast with firm thumbs. I head to my room and lock the door. My hands hover over the keyboard and pause. I open a new draft and type the title. The question snaps back at me like recoil. I reach the restaurant early and choose a corner. Maya arrives first and sits across without a smile. Liam steps in 2 minutes later and stops short. No hugs, no reach, we keep space like a live wire. A server sets waters down and glances at Liam. You coach my nephew, she says with quick pride. He thanks her and shifts his stance an inch. I clock the recognition and feel the room narrow. Ground rules first, I start with my hands flat. No surprises and no pressure and no coded jokes. Maya lifts her chin and taps the menu twice. Agreed, she answers, but her eyes challenge me. Liam lays a small card on the table. 2 sentences in his handwriting list today's limits. He slides it toward me and waits without blinking. I read every word and feel my heart beat slow. The server returns and takes our simple order. Silence holds for a beat that stretches taut. Maya breaks it with one measured question. Are you coming to his game Saturday or not? Depends on how this goes, I answer honestly. Liam's jaw tightens, then he unclenches with effort. I want you there, he says and keeps his gaze level. I hear want not need and tuck that away. My phone buzzes and lights up the table. A number I don't recognize sends a screenshot. It's Liam with a woman at a bar. Timestamp from last month hangs like bait. I tilt the screen so they both can see. Maya lifts her eyebrows and then looks at him. Context now, I say while my pulse climbs. He sits back and sets both hands visible. That was casual and finished before we started. She messaged me again today and I ignored it. Someone wants this blown up fast, he adds carefully. My eyes flick to Maya and watch her shoulders. Call her from my phone, Maya says, tone even. Put it on speaker so we hear the truth. Liam hesitates for a quarter second, then nods. He dials and sets the phone between us. A woman answers with amusement that fades quickly. Liam says one sentence that names the month. She swears and admits she sent the photo. Because you unmatched me, she blurts, then hangs up. I watch Maya for reaction and get steel. She turns the phone toward me and locks it. Thank you for not hiding that, she says flat. Her gaze lands on me like a referee's whistle. The food arrives and gives us a minute. We eat in short bursts and keep talking. Liam brings up tomorrow's schedule without embellishment. He checks with Maya before naming any plan. New rule I add as I chew once. If an old flame reaches out, you loop us. Right away and no spin and no delay. Both agree in unison and that surprises me. A teenage kid approaches and hovers by our table. He looks at Liam like he wants permission to speak. Can you sign my cap? He asks and trembles. Liam smiles small and signs, then nods to the kid. Maya watches the exchange and her expression softens slightly. I catch it and feel heat rise behind my ribs. Charm can disguise a lot and I dislike that. But the kid walks away grinning and innocence lingers. I switch lanes and ask about money boundaries. Splitting dates, I say and leave it blunt. Maya answers first and keeps it simple. We alternate and stay within our own budgets. Good, I reply and feel control return. Liam lifts a hand and adds one thing. I already told my boss we're seeing each other. Public accountability lands between us like a marker. Maya's phone lights with a notification from campus. She glances and then flips it face down. Not now, she mutters and takes a sip. The deferral feels loaded and I store that for later. The server drops the check and we all reach. I place my card down and block their hands. Tonight is mine because this is my circus. Maya huffs once and hides a reluctant smile. On the sidewalk, we pause under the buzzing sign. Cars roll past and spray the street with noise. Liam keeps a respectful distance and waits for direction. I let the moment stretch until his throat works. Text me your plan for Saturday by noon. Include pickup windows and who else will be there. He nods once and looks to Maya for confirmation. She gives a small nod back and folds her arms. I'm walking home alone, she announces and holds my stare. Not a punishment, I want clear heads tonight. Liam accepts it without flinch and steps backward. He gives me one last look and then turns. Maya leans in an inch and lowers her voice. You're getting fair and I notice, she whispers. Don't slip back when someone tests us next. She pulls away fast and heads down the block. I watch both routes diverge and pick mine. The night hums with unanswered questions that will return. I pocket the card with those 2 sentences. I already know tomorrow will press harder. 10 on the dot, my screen lights with his plan. Locations, times, who will be present and why. At the end he adds one more line. He wants to introduce himself to our parents soon. I hold the phone out and let her read. Her mouth tenses, then relaxes like a pulled knot. Not yet, she decides and pushes the phone back. First, we watch him handle pressure in public. We head to the field and keep step. Eric steps. He is already running a drill and counting. Short commands, quick corrections, no ego and no show. I stand behind the fence while she stays 2 rows up. A man in a jacket taps my shoulder once. You friends with the coach? He asks without smiling. Rumor says he's mixed up with a student. The word student sticks like a barb and draws heat. Adult, I answer and my pulse starts kicking hard. He shrugs as if the nuance bores him. League hates mess, he mutters and turns away. I watch him pull out his phone and keep texting. Whistle blows, kids jog to the sideline for water. I step up to the gap and catch Liam's eye. You told your supervisor everything already, I ask low. He nods once and points toward the office container. Paperwork filed yesterday, he adds under his breath. Code says no entanglements with minors or guardians. Nothing bars a private relationship with a non-program adult. Still they will watch, he finishes, and I note it. A player slips mid-sprint and hits the ground hard. The whole group stalls and panic ripples fast. Liam covers the distance in a few strides. He stabilizes the ankle and calls for ice right away. The kid breathes through teeth and fights tears. Liam lifts 2 fingers and urges slower breaths. He signals another coach to notify the parent. Everything is clipped and steady, nothing messy, all accountable. Maya joins me at the fence and folds her arms. Her eyes track the kid until he sits up. She doesn't speak, but the tension in her wrist loosens. I pretend not to notice that tiny surrender. Practice winds down and the players scatter in packs. A compact car swings to the curb with a jolt. The woman from the screenshot steps out and scans faces. She spots us and heads over like she owns the ground. So you must be the sister, she tosses with a smirk. And the coach who vanishes after 1 drink. Maya doesn't flinch and sets her bag down calmly. Leave a message with the league if you're concerned. The woman laughs once and flips open her camera. Better yet, I'll post it myself right now. Go ahead, I answer, stepping between them and the lens. Include the part where you admitted the timing. She falters for a breath and glances at Liam. He lifts his hands and moves, nothing else. I won't engage you further, he says and backs off. Contact the office if you have an issue. My phone buzzes as she retreats to the car. Unknown number again, this time with a short threat. Tell your sister to back off or the photos go wide. My stomach drops and then steadies into something colder. I show the message and wait for their reactions. Maya's mouth flattens and she taps the screen twice. Forward it to the supervisor and keep the header. Then we walk into the office and document everything. We do it, the administrator prints the thread and signs. He runs through policy bullet points with no flourish. No contact with underage participants outside sanctioned hours. No displays during program time, no exceptions or excuses. Your relationship is private but under scrutiny, he concludes. Any rumors that disrupt our environment will trigger review. Your cooperation today helps, but be prepared for questions. He slides the form across and asks for acknowledgments. We step outside and the air feels thin. Maya leans against the railing and looks at me. You wanted pressure, she says, voice steady and clear. This is pressure I'm still in, are you? I take 2 measured breaths and face Liam directly. Would you step back if the board demands it? Yes, he answers without blinking, and it lands hard. If this hurts her life, I walk away immediately. He turns to Maya and waits for her lead. I choose my life myself, she answers, quiet but fierce. If it hurts me, I will end it first. They hold that vow between them and I feel the shift. On the ride home, my phone dings again. This time it's an email from Campus Conduct. Anonymous tips submitted about an inappropriate mentor relationship. Maya reads over my shoulder and laughs once, sharp. Not a mentor, not a campus employee, she says. Still, I'm scheduling a meeting to shut this down. She fires off a reply and requests a slot tomorrow. Action first, feelings later, and I respect that choice. Back at the apartment, she packs a small overnight bag. I'm staying at a friend's place to avoid drama tonight. You can come by if new threats arrive, she adds. She squeezes my forearm once and waits for my answer. Go, I tell her, and something inside loosens. I'll scan every message and hold the paper trail. If the board or campus calls again, I handle first. She nods and moves for the door with quiet intent. Alone, I open the draft and rewrite the top lines. I pull the word creepy into the center again. It still fits the shock from that first night. It doesn't fit what I watched on that field. The link hits my screen before breakfast and climbs fast. A thread with our names splashed across a gossip forum. Photos from the sideline, caption with loaded words and guesses. Comments pile up like hail and I brace for impact. I forward everything to the league contact and campus inbox. Then I call Maya's friend and ask to speak briefly. Maya takes the phone and I hear measured breathing. Meet me outside the office in 20, she says, decisive. We walk in together and sign the visitor sheet. The conduct officer opens the door and waves us inside. He lays out the complaint and asks 3 direct questions. Maya answers cleanly and looks him straight on. Any faculty involved, he asks, pen hovering over lines. No, she answers and then gestures to my printouts. I slide the screenshots across the desk in silence. He reviews the timestamps and requests the raw files. He calls a short recess and steps into the hallway. While we wait, Maya sits upright and locks her fingers. She glances at me once and holds that look. I read resolve there and also a tiny tremor. The officer returns and hands back our copies. Preliminary review shows no policy breach today, he says calmly. We will monitor chatter for harassment and escalate if needed. He ends the meeting and reminds us to log everything. Outside, my phone rings again and a new voice attacks. You dragged me to admin, enjoy the blowback, the woman spits. I know where he works and I'll camp there. The call ends with a laugh that sticks under my skin. I text Liam and warn him about the threat immediately. He replies with a live locat. Ian ping and 2 words. On it. I exhale and realize my jaw aches from clenching. We head to the field anyway and watch from distance. A man stands near the gate and records every drill. Not the woman from yesterday, a different watcher. I snap photos of his face and the license plate. During a water break, Liam walks to the fence. He keeps his arms folded and addresses both of us. Security has the plate and description already, he says. Staff rotation begins today and the office is briefed. The watcher leaves quickly when a patrol car rolls past. Maya tracks him until the corner swallows his bumper. She turns back and her expression sharpens into focus. I'm done reacting, she declares, and I feel the pivot. She pulls up her email and taps out a message. A scholarship coordinator gets tagged with a request for travel. She wants a spring placement far from this noise. She hits send and meets my stare head on. What if that means long distance? I ask while testing myself. If it does, we manage it or we end it, she replies. Either path beats living under someone else's threats. Her voice stays even and I hear steel under it. Liam finishes practice and walks over with measured steps. Maya tells him about the placement request without ceremony. He absorbs it and doesn't rush to reassure anyone. Tell me the timeline and I'll adjust my life, he answers. I watch for the flinch and don't get one. He reaches into his bag and hands me a folder. Inside are signed acknowledgments from the board and supervisor. He has timestamps, witnesses, and tangible records ready. Good, I say, and the word tastes different now. I also need you to stay away from our place tonight. He nods without protest and glances at Maya for alignment. She gives a single blink that reads agreement and control. My phone buzzes with a family group alert mid-sentence. Mom is asking about a rumor her friend mentioned casually. Maya stiffens and then points at the sidewalk. Call her with both of us on speaker right now. We stand under the awning and dial the number. Mom answers with a tone that expects an explanation immediately. Maya leads with the administrator's finding from an hour ago. I add the security report and the continuing harassment. Mom listens without interruption and then lands one clean line. Protect yourselves and document every contact and keep me looped. She pauses and drops another shoe that I didn't expect. Dad wants to meet him Sunday and hear things directly. We end the call and look at each other. Sunday now has a shape and a countdown. Maya blows out a breath and rolls her shoulders once. We prepare and we don't grovel, she says steady. Back at the apartment, I open my draft again. I erase the title and write a harsher version. I describe the threats and the formal steps taken. My fingers hover over the word creepy and stop. The knock at my door interrupts that choice instantly. I open it to find a courier with a packet. A cease and desist from the woman's attorney lies inside. Allegations of defamation and a demand for removal. I call the number listed and request a supervisor quickly. The receptionist places me on hold and then transfers. A new voice explains they received only her narrative. I offer the signed documents and the recorded call. Email us the materials and we will assess today, the voice says. Consider this preliminary until we review each item. I send everything and request confirmation in writing. An automated reply lands within a minute and nothing else. I text both of them and outline the next steps. Maya replies with a thumbs up and a short line. Dinner here with only us to plan Sunday. I stare at the screen and feel my heartbeat level. I close the laptop and finally look at the room. Nothing has moved except the stack of forms and cables. I sit on the floor and breathe until my head clears. Tomorrow we'll bring the meeting request from campus again. My screen lights with a screenshot and one brutal line. Effective immediately, you are on administrative leave pending review. Liam's message follows with a pin to the office lot. Do not storm in, I type, already grabbing my keys. He's standing by the entrance with fists tucked tight. A staffer opens the door and blocks his path. Optics not guilt, the staffer says with clipped patience. I step between them and ask for a private room. Inside, the supervisor lays papers on the table slowly. No violation found, but the board fears disruption. Temporary leave means no practices, no games, no pay. Liam stares at the signature and swallows whatever he wants to yell. Appeal or accept, the supervisor offers without looking up. Appeal, I answer, then nod at the policy binder. He slides a form across with fields already highlighted. We fill sections fast, leaving the outcome heavy in the air. Outside, Maya arrives with a new message open. Interview locked for Frid. She says, eyes steady and bright. Out of state, travel covered, decision within 2 weeks. She looks at me first and asks for my reference. Use me, not him, I tell her before she asks. She nods once, then turns to Liam and waits. I'll cheer from distance if that helps your case. He exhales and pockets the leave notice like a hot coal. A car creeps past the gate and slows deliberately. Same plate I shot yesterday, same deliberate pacing behavior. Security steps out from behind the kiosk and waves him over. The driver bolts, almost clipping the curb in his hurry. We hand the guard our photos and yesterday's report. He radios the plate in and jots quick notes. Keep filming if anyone returns, he instructs with focus. 2 incidents makes a pattern, 3 makes a file. My phone buzzes again with a legal subject line. The firm from yesterday retracts the demand without apology. They cite new information and close the matter provisionally. Relief lands thin and temporary like tape over a crack. Maya's friend calls with a shaken whisper in my ear. Forum posted your building number and cross street, she warns. I glance at them and point toward the exit ramp. Home now, I say, we move people and lock things down. At the apartment we split tasks without ceremony or fuss. Maya bags essentials and wipes her name from the mailbox. I set up a camera facing the hallway door. Liam drafts a statement for parents and the league. Read this, he says, handing me his phone. He offers to resign if the board believes it stabilizes the program. He includes the appeal and the compliance timeline, plain and spare. I read it twice and feel my judgment shift underfoot. Resigning helps their optics and punishes your rent, I warn. I can cover you a month if it comes to that. He shakes his head and keeps the draft on screen. This is my mess to carry, not yours, he answers. Maya watches us and measures the room with one glance. If he steps down, I own that weight too, she says. We are not trading one rumor for martyr points. She turns to me and waits for my real stance. Hold the resignation until Sunday at least, I decide. Show my parents the full picture before you jump. She breathes out, relieved and unshaken, and pockets her phone. Liam nods once and saves the draft with a hard tap. Mom texts a time for Sunday and a location choice. Here, she writes, we want to see everyday life. Maya lifts her eyebrows and I feel my throat tighten. Our space becomes the arena, not neutral ground. Terms for Sunday, I say, keeping my voice low. No surprises, no jabs, no phone recordings. We sit in the living room and keep chairs separate. Maya nods and adds, I lead the timeline, not you. Door buzzer screams and every nerve spikes at once. I check the camera and see a delivery carrier waiting. A plain envelope lies on the mat when we open. Inside is a printout of our forum thread, circled names everywhere. We escalate, I say, sending it to the officer. Maya forwards it to campus with a new subject. Pattern of targeted harassment, requesting protective notice. Within minutes, the administrator replies and marks the case urgent. Evening drops and we build a plan for rest. Maya heads to her friend's place with a rideshare screenshot. Liam books a cheap room across town for 2 nights. I stay here with the camera rolling and a notepad ready. Before they leave, we circle in the doorway without touching. I'll answer any question your parents throw, Liam promises. Short answers, straight posture, no appeals to history. He looks at me and I nod once because I believe him now. Maya squeezes my forearm and holds for 3 seconds. Trust the plan, she whispers, voice calm but wired. If anything shifts, we regroup by text immediately. She draws back in the hall, swallows her steps. The apartment goes quiet and my phone vibrates again. A new account posts a countdown image aimed at Sunday. 48 hours stamped across our address with a knife emoji. I save the screenshot and feel the fight sharpening for real. The buzzer screams 2 hours early and my chest spikes. I check the camera and see our parents at the door. Maya texts from the street that she is close. I buzz them in and move the chairs as planned. They step inside and scan the room for weakness. Where is he? Mom asks, setting her bag down hard. Nearby, I answer, palms up like a traffic cop. We start with terms or we cancel this meeting. Maya enters with tight steps and a steady gaze. She takes the center seat and points at the table. No recording, no ambush questions, no character guesses, she says. Direct facts first, decisions later, everyone breathes. Liam appears in the doorway and stops a beat. He waits for Maya's nod before crossing into the space. Dad stands taller and folds his arms like a gate. Name your boundary with my daughter right now. Consent every step, L. Liam answers with measured voice and shoulders squared. No alcohol around decisions, no closed doors in shared spaces. Any fear and we stop immediately and reset. He keeps eye contact and doesn't glance at me. Mom opens a folder and sets a single page down. League notice of leave, she says, tapping the header. Why should I trust a man on suspension? Liam meets the paper like it's another opponent. Policy allows leave for optics during investigation, he replies. I reported our relationship to avoid shadows and rumors. The board paused me to calm the sideline chatter. He gestures at the acknowledgments I stacked earlier. Dad flicks his gaze to me and waits. I slide the signed forms across and keep commentary minimal. Compliance documented today with timestamps and witnesses, I say. Harassment tracked by admin and copied to campus. Mom studies the text messages between them line by line. Slow pace, clear check-ins, no late-night pressure, she reads. Maya leans forward and plants her fingertips on the table. I set those conditions and I enforce them myself. The door buzzer hits again with a long, impatient blare. I glance at the camera and feel my stomach drop. The woman from the bar stands there with her phone raised. Maya inhales once and gives me a single look. I call the non-emergency line and explain the situation crisply. I forward the countdown image and the doxed address screenshot. Dispatch confirms a unit is nearby and logs the complaint. I keep the phone on the table and return to the circle. Dad watches the screen and then focuses on Liam. If she leaves for that placement, what happens? He asks. Whatever she chooses, Liam answers without reaching for her. I'll visit or I'll step aside her call. Mom pivots like a prosecutor who found an opening. Did you ever mentor her academically? She challenges with heat. No, Maya answers before he can breathe. We kept school separate to avoid any power imbalance. I hand Mom the printed email from campus conduct. Preliminary review shows no policy breach, I state. Documentation continues with harassment flagged for escalation. She reads the header, then lowers the page slowly. My phone rings with the league administrator's number flashing. I lift it to speaker and introduce everyone quickly. Status update only, the admin clarifies with professional distance. Appeal received, review scheduled, outside counsel notified. Dad steps closer to the phone and clears his throat. Is he accused of misconduct or merely disruptive presence? Disruptive presence due to rumors, the admin answers firmly. 0 reports of improper contact with any minor. We end the call and the apartment goes quiet. Maya looks at me with a faint question in her eyes. I know what she wants and I choose courage now. I used a word the first night that I regret. Mom tilts her head and waits for the rest. I called him creepy when I found them together. That word came from fear and not evidence. I am replacing it with conditions and oversight. Dad exhales through his nose and steps back an inch. Maya reaches across and taps my wrist once. Liam stays still and keeps his hands visible. The room holds steady, but the threat hasn't left. The buzzer sounds again and the camera fills with faces. 2 neighbors stand with a printout of the forum post. People are loitering outside and filming our floor, one says. We need this stopped or we call the landlord now. I thank them and promise action while Mom watches everything. She lifts her phone and dials a number without warning. A minute later, the building manager calls me directly. Security will sweep and remove anyone not visiting, he confirms. Maya stands and squares to our parents with purpose. I will pursue the placement and decide after the interview. I expect your support while I test this relationship. Push me and I dig in harder, help me and I listen. Dad turns the wedding band on his finger and nods slowly. One last question for him before I decide, he says. What mistake do you fear repeating if this continues? Liam answers without looking for my help or hers. Defensiveness under stress, he admits with careful honesty. I justify choices instead of repairing harm quickly. I will take correction and slow down before speaking. His voice does not wobble and that matters. Mom reaches across the table and collects the papers. Ground rules from us, she says, voice controlled and direct. No social media posts about relationships for either of you. All threats forwarded to us and law enforcement immediately. Maya agrees and looks to me for the next move. I add one line that surprises even me as it lands. Sunday dinner again, same time, same room, status check. Dad raises an eyebrow and then gives a brief approving grunt. A rap at the door cuts through our fragile balance. A patrol officer stands in the hallway with a clipboard. Ma'am, sir, did you report online threats and unwanted visitors? We confirm and show the screenshots while he takes notes. He asks if we want a trespass notice prepared for the woman. Maya answers yes before anyone can hesitate. He leaves forms and says a unit will wait downstairs. I sign where he points and feel the needle swing. When the door closes, Mom finally addresses Liam by name. You will attend next Sunday only if this week stays quiet. Any escalation and you pause contact until we reassess. He agrees instantly and does not ask for exceptions. Maya's phone dings with a new message from the coordinator. Interview time moved up to Wednesday due to cancellations. She looks at me and then at our parents waiting. Mom smiles a fraction and nods once toward the door. Pack tonight, Mom says, we drive you to the airport. Dad adds, we expect to check in after the interview. Maya's breath catches and then evens out like a drum beat. I catch the look she gives me and feel the shift complete. Liam steps back toward the threshold and lifts his chin. I will not text during her travel days, he offers. I'll wait for her to reach out first. Maya studies him and grants a single precise nod. Our parents gather their things and move to leave. Dad pauses beside me and lowers his voice an inch. You guarded her tonight without smothering her, he murmurs. Keep that balance or this fails for everyone. The hallway swallows their footsteps and the door clicks. Maya leans on the wall and finally lets out a long breath. I wanted a war and got a contract instead, she mutters. Now we have to survive the fine print. My phone lights with a final push notification that chills me. The forum thread locks and a new one spawns instantly. Anonymous users are planning to show up at the next game. I look at the leave notice and realize the trap still tightens. Maya sees the update and types a message to the board. Please consider a public statement clarifying the leave status. Silence is feeding this, she writes with careful precision. She hits send and stares at the screen like a challenge. Liam pockets his copy of the appeal and looks toward the window. No games means no crowd, he says, thinking 3 steps ahead. They'll try the apartment or the campus next. He meets my eyes and the new team forms without ceremony. I stack the documents and open a new shared folder. Evidence contacts T. Imez confirmations. Maya drops the travel itinerary inside without asking. Liam adds the officer's card and the building manager note. We stand in a loose triangle and no one speaks. Every phone in the room buzzes at the same moment. Unknown number again, now with a photo of our door. I move to the peephole and my pulse starts to hammer. The hallway is empty and the camera shows only carpet. I screenshot the message and forward it to the case email. Police are still downstairs, I text and grab my shoes. Maya pulls her bag closer and waits for my call. I open the door and step into the corridor alone. Silence stretches, then the elevator dings 1 floor below. Footsteps fade toward the exit like ghosts I cannot catch. I lock up again and know tomorrow will hit harder. Knuckles rap the door before sunrise and my pulse spikes. I check the camera and see an officer waiting outside. He holds a clipboard and asks for a quick signature. The trespass notice is active now, enforcement begins today. My phone buzzes with a new tip line receipt. The countdown image got flagged by 2 other tenants. Management adds extra patrols and a lobby guard tonight. I thank him and start packing copies for later. A car horn pops twice and I look down. Maya sits in the back while our parents wait. I grab her bag and take the stairs fast. She opens the door and pulls me into a hard hug. Airport first, then silence, she tells me with resolve. No updates until I clear the interview room. I nod and slide the itinerary into my jacket. She squeezes my hand once and lets go. At the curb, a rideshare idles and time thins. Mom gives me a look that doubles as a warning. Hold your ground, protect the apartment, keep records, she says. Dad lifts 2 fingers like a promise and closes the trunk. They roll away and the street exhales around me. Liam steps from a doorway with a cap pulled low. He keeps distance and asks if she got off clean. I nod and show the confirmed boarding text without commentary. Now we shore up the building, I tell him. We print the notice and tape it beside the elevator. A neighbor pokes out, reads the headline, and nods once. He mentions a stranger casing doors 2 floors up. We sweep the hall with the guard and log times. A man peeks, spots the badge, retreating in a hurry. The guard snaps a photo and radios the description. Keep doors locked, call if he lingers, he advises. My inbox pings with a statement draft from the program. They plan to clarify the leave as precautionary. No misconduct alleged, review underway, timeline transparent. I request one change and push for today. Liam studies the language and rubs his brow. This helps the kids more than me, he says quietly. Good, I answer because the kids keep getting dragged. He nods and sends his approval to the director. Another alert lands with a courtroom address in time. The restraining order hearing is set for Thursday. The officer suggests we bring printed evidence and witnesses. I text the neighbor and the manager for support. Midday hits and my phone rings twice in a row. Unknown number starts to speak, then hangs again. A third call follows with the woman's voice sharpened. Enjoy your quiet, it ends at 3. I forward the recording to the case email immediately. The officer replies with a short line and a plan. A patrol will wait outside at 2:45. I breathe and feel my shoulders drop, not relax. Liam paces near the window and checks his watch. Appeal window closes at 5, he reminds himself. Statement should land before that if they hustle. I nod and draft our own short note. We choose plain words and zero emotion by design. Respect for process, commitment to safety, thank you to staff. No barbs, no insinuations, no bait for trolls. He signs it and we schedule the post. 2:45 arrives and the buzzer goes again. The officer announces presence and moves to the stairwell. At 3 exactly, a shadow leans near our camera. The woman lifts her phone, then freezes at the badge. The officer asks for her name and she gives it. He reads the trespass notice and points to the signature line. She scoffs and tries to step back toward the stairs. Backup rounds the corner and blocks her path cleanly. They escort her downstairs while she protests loudly. I film the process from our doorway without a word. Liam stands behind me with both hands visible. The guard collects the date and adds it to the sheet. Silence returns with a bitter aftertaste that lingers. My phone vibrates with a new email from the program. The statement is live on their site and social. Comments are limited, and the thread locks automatically. I scroll through the staff bulletin and find the line. Outside counsel engaged for review effective today. Liam exhales like someone finally cut a rope. He does not smile, and I appreciate that restraint. A text from Maya lands while we stand there. Bored? Ed's second leg, she writes, turning off phone now. 3 words after that pierce straight through my guard. Trust the plan. We spend the next hour building a timeline. Every call, every patrol, every knock, every screen. I print duplicates and label them with simple tags. No guesses, no extras, just the spine of events. A knock sounds again and the manager appears. He hands us a letter for the hearing packet. He confirms loitering reports and the extra camera coverage. He promises to attend if the judge wants testimony. The day edges toward evening and tension resets. I cook the simplest thing I can assemble quickly. Liam washes up and keeps out of my reach. We eat standing and trade next steps like code. My phone dings with the program reply to my edit. They added our requested line about youth safety first. I nod and text a brief thank you to the admin. Liam reads it and sets his jaw like stone. The elevator clanks and my chest tightens again. Footsteps pause outside our door and then move on. I check the peephole and see a neighbor's kid. He slips a note under the mat and sprints away. I pick it up and my stomach hardens. The gossip thread posted our floor again with arrows. I send it to the officer with a quick caption. He replies that patrol will circle back at 9. I turn to Liam and decide to push harder. If the appeal fails, you resign with a statement, I say. Not guilt, not surrender, just a firewall for the kids. He studies my face and nods once, thinking fast. Then I find work outside youth programs for a while. He says it like a sentence he built long ago. I rebuild quietly and let the dust settle. I hear acceptance, not collapse, and I log it. Evening deepens and my phone finally lights again. Maya uses the hotel landline to deliver one update. Landed safe, early slot tomorrow, panel of 3. She will text me after the second round only. I tell her about the trespass enforcement and the escort. I skip the neighbor's note and the arrows for now. She listens and then goes calm in a measurable way. Hold the line, she says, I'll handle my side. I hang up and face the next hard thing. I owe Liam a sentence I have avoided for days. You were my safe person before any of this, I start. That is why the first night burned like acid. He leans against the wall and gives me room. Losing that version of us hurt worse than rage, I admit. I used a loaded word to claw back control. I am replacing it with terms I actually enforce. He swallows and keeps his eyes steady on mine. I will live with your rules if they keep trust alive. I will also step away if she asks me to. He says it without theater and it lands clean. 9 hits and the officer texts that the block is clear. The manager flips the lobby feed to an off-site server. I copy the link into our folder and test playback. The camera shows empty tile and a sleeping desk chair. An email lands from campus with a security notice. They warn students about targeted doxing by outside actors. They attach our case number and study the pattern. Maya will receive a copy at her campus account. I type a reply and ask one pointed question. Will campus legal support the restraining order on Thursday? They respond yes within 2 minutes and attach a form. I complete it and file it under hearing exhibits. The hallway creaks again and my body tenses. This time it is a delivery at the wrong address. The guard corrects him and the cart rolls away. I laugh once and hear the edge in my throat. Liam checks the clock and opens his messages. The program sends the appeal schedule for the morning. His slot is 10 on video with the review panel. He reads it twice and then powers his phone down. Sleep at the hotel, I tell him with finality. Text me after the panel gets off the call. He pulls on his jacket and pauses at the threshold. Thank you for running point, he says, barely above a whisper. After he leaves, the apartment feels heavier and sharper. I sit at the table and open the draft again. I type the title I have avoided for a week. AITA for calling my best friend creepy for dating my sister. I lay out the actions and leave out the fluff. I include the phone call, the escort, the hearing. I list the rules we set and how we kept them. I describe my fear of losing both and standing alone. I do not ask for punishment and I do not beg. I ask for a verdict on the word and the reflex. Was it a fair alarm or a cheap shot under pressure? Was I protecting her or protecting my nostalgia? Before posting, my phone lights up with 2 messages. Maya writes one word that changes my balance completely. Advance, she texts, then adds, team lead invited coffee. A second later, the program pings with a neutral reminder. Appeal at 10, please verify your connection 5 minutes early. I stare at both threads and feel the hook sink deeper. Whatever happens next will expose every weak joint we ha. I hit submit and watch the screen wait for judgment.